33 days ago, I moved from Canada to Ireland, and today my wife and I got out to the National Museum of Ireland because she has been dying to show me the bog bodies and more of Irish history. As you can tell, this was before Christmas, but right before I left, of course, my dumbass always needs to forget something and run back upstairs. I forgot a scarf. I think I'm gonna get a scarf because it's a little bit cold today. Gonna go with this one because my wife knitted me this. Alright, let's get the hell out of here. Right before we left though, we ended up seeing a robin in the garden, and my Irish mom and wife Sarah were pretty stoked on that because turns out robins have a lot of significance in folklore, and on my end though, it really set the pace for the day on the sheer amount of stuff I'd be learning because Sarah is a compendium of history and folklore. That's the significance on robins is...
Yeah, it's your dead family members coming back to visit you.
Ah, that's cool.
When a robin is like around, like if you go to a graveyard.
Yeah.
Over here, there's a lot of like little things on the graves with robins on them.
We hopped on the bus and started heading to the museum. Normally we would have driven, but as I've been finding out more about Ireland as well as city living in Dublin, they've crunched down pretty hard on traffic going into the city, so most people actually just end up catching the bus unless your situation needs a vehicle. I'm still adjusting to traffic going in the opposite direction, so I quadruple look before I cross, because knowing me I'll get hit, but even then, it pales in comparison to Vancouver traffic. Funny story, we went actually to the National Museum like a week ago, and it was closed the one day it was closed. So this time we're actually, gonna get in, and it's not gonna be closed. From where we were walking, it was a quick trip to the museum from here, and it was pretty rad because they leave this open with free admission for anyone just to go in, so W's in the chat on that one. The architecture in this place was absolutely gorgeous, and right away we were hit with exhibits on exhibits upon walking in, so historian wife Arino zoned in on the first thing and started her personal tour of Irish history.
Catching fish. It's a fish trap, but it's from like 5,300 BC. If you dig long enough in like Glendalough or wherever, you'll find one of these things. They're fucking everywhere.
Now, what's up with here? What's lots of like pots and stuff, I guess, or like... After getting a rough introduction into fish traps and arrowheads, we turned the corner and I got a speed run lesson on the Hill of Tara after. That's a full survey of the Hill of Tara.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming 3 and 5 are like the main areas.
3 is the royal seat.
Yeah. How old is this?
Jesus, that predates the pyramids.
Dude, that's insane.
Yeah.
As we explored around, I started to get a bit more of the lay of the land on how the museum was divided. There's 2 floors and a plethora of exhibits ranging from ancient artifacts, bog bodies, things found in bogs, religious artifacts, and a whole heap of gold, with the upstairs being more focused on the Egyptian and Viking exhibits. Call me lame, but I was personally pretty astounded with the huge-ass boat they pulled out of a bog, because hundreds of year-old craftsmanship like that is pretty crazy to me.
It's found in... I think it was fucking Galway,
Man. I'm just wondering how, long it took for them to build this, because... this is a massive boat. We moved into the section after, and it held a lot of exhibits that had gold artifacts, and dude, there's a lot of it. Anywhere from necklaces to earrings to cloaks to pins to bracelets, gold was present everywhere. I know there's proper names for these, but humor me because I'm a foreigner and I'm not about to butcher the cultural names with my Canadian accent. Yeah, you could say gold is just the general fashion statement.
This one makes me sad because they didn't get to finish these torts.
I love how the fashion changed, aka they just got bigger. I love the age-old human tradition that bigger is still better.
French, they thought that maybe we wore these, you see these things?
Yeah, so...
that they potentially, the ear spools were worn, stretched out, you see cultures all over the world wearing them like this.
Yeah.
It looks like they stretched out their ears.
Wonder if it was a figure of status, maybe, or something like that?
Oh, very, very much so. Yeah.
I could never get into the ear stretching thing. Yeah. That's crazy, doing it way back when there's it's all dirty and stuff. The section was coming to a close, and it was time for what I'd been looking very forward to, was the bog bodies. Now, funny enough, during the pandemic, talking about history and bog bodies especially is what gave Sarah a pretty decent sized following on TikTok, so she was pretty stoked to show me because she loves talking about this stuff. Now, in order to keep the bodies preserved, there is a certain temperature that they need to be kept under, so I brightened up some of these sections because the lighting was pretty dim, and I apologize in advance about some of the camera noise.
That are more preserved, but it was just the manner in which she was stored. You can see his hair right here, and if you come down,
I can't believe how well preserved the bog just like kept these bodies. It's nuts. Then it was on to bog body number 2.
To the glass paint specks in his hand.
Yeah.
It's lice. That also got preserved by the bog.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And if you come around, you come around this side. You see where his hair and his hairline is?
Yeah.
That's his cause of death. He gets smashed on the head. You see the way the skin.
The fact that the skin is so well preserved, that's what's getting me here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like you have to be really respectful on this stuff. So, okay, this is the reenactment of his face right here of assuming what he'd look like.
Yeah.
Fun fact, in this recreation, they also lovingly kept his hair lice in there, which is both hilarious and revolting at the exact same time.
But you'll see now why he is famous.
He's the most well-preserved, I'm assuming. Holy. His hands are in like perfect shape.
To indicate he was like a higher status person.
Gotcha.
And if you go and look at his nails over the side,
Yeah.
they're super well manicured.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah, so he didn't do any hard labor. And if you look, do you see his arm there, the way there's like a split in it?
Mm-hmm.
His arm was actually cut open and there was some like sticks and things shoved in there.
Why would they cut off his nipples?
Because this is why everyone suspects that he was a high king, because back in prehistoric Ireland, when you first went to see the king, it was a sign of submission and respect to suck on the king's nipples for a second.
Oh,
So if they chopped them off, he couldn't be king, because he also had to be physically perfect to be king. They would marry the actual
They would
land.
marry Ireland and not the actual...
So if like the harvest was bad and the weather was bad and things weren't going well, he did something wrong, so they would infer them in a bog to try and fix it.
Crazy. Then we move on to the last body. Man, there's a lot with this guy. Holy.
He's the fullest.
Did he get his head smashed into?
Yes. Right there.
Yeah. Bro didn't, bro said something he shouldn't have said. Yeah, you can tell where the impact was. What was really getting me on here was just how well preserved his ribs and his skin and his feet were. It was just mind-blowing to me. Turns out they had quite a few more bodies, but it's a thing that takes a lot of funding, so we only have the 4 that were on display there, but that was the end of that, and something really cool to experience. But we moved on to the rest of the museum now. Flesh hook. Be quiet or I'll hit you with my flesh hook. Now, curious as I was, I had a lot of questions about, well, everything, but looking back at the footage now, I really am the equivalent of the kid who just asks when they're there yet on a road trip. You're the history master, Sarah. Enlighten me. What's going on here? Oh, I see this bell. Tell me about the bell. What's with the bell? The leather shoe.
There you go.
More urns. I guess this found in a bog? It's got 4 faces, 3 faces. What's this? What's this thing? Okay, tell me about this.
It was thought to have magical properties. So all these score marks, people would sharpen their weapons on them before they went to war. For success in battle.
They were hitting this place a lot harder. Same with this one.
Yeah, it's thought to be magical, so give it
Let's give it a wee little pat. What I got a kick out of, though, was the giant ohm and the actual alphabet along with it, so you could decipher what any inscriptions were. Also, this religious text was giving Necronomicon. Then it was finally time to hit the upstairs for the Egypt section and the Vikings, as well as some more old artifacts. I don't know why, but I found these clogs to be just completely hilarious given their context. These clogs. Check out these clogs. Everyone was just dumping like their own human feces out, so they're just clogging around, walking over the over the crap. Oh god, I just pissed and shitted and farted, and now I gotta whack in it. That is a fashion statement. Nice to know that bucket hats have survived all these years. Then we finally moved into the Egypt section. So were these ones full-sized? These, or are they just kind of like recreations? These like recreations?
No, these are real.
These ones are full send real. I've never seen anything like this in person, so truth be told, they were a lot smaller than I thought they'd be, but I also can blame that on being a millennial and watching The Mummy like way more times than I can count. But what really got me though was seeing an actual mummified cat in person. I am just such a cat person, so anything cats immediately gets me way more excited than I should be. We started heading into the Viking section afterwards, and I got a quick crash course on the Viking chic as well as the weapons they used. They have lots of weapons. Yeah, for all the pillaging you get done.
Yeah, the fish hook.
Mm-hmm.
So they were tearing up them fish in there.
Didn't matter what it was, humans or fish or anything. You were being pillaged by the Vikings.
Let me show you this. This is what it would have looked like back in the Viking era. When it was discovered, and everything in this room was excavated from around that area, they were finding stuff constantly.
We then landed in a room that had a Jesus statue that looked like a wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man, and then a deer antler that literally just had the inscription on it that said deer antler because Vikings have a good sense of humor. And from there, we hit the end of the museum and descended the stairs and rolled out. We still had some time left before it got dark, so we wandered around a bit, found a music store, pissed off to the boozer for a couple, then found a kebab place for dinner, and then finally we caught the bus out of downtown and headed home. I would have loved to have gotten more footage, but my phone decided to die, so that's on me for not having a power bank. Okay, my phone died. I've got like a 5-year-old Samsung, so the battery just is not what it used to be, and I really need a new phone. But today was so sick though, so if you haven't yet, please like, subscribe, leave comments, let me know where else to go check out in Ireland, because like, I got a whole lifetime to see this country, and I want to share everything with everyone. So get in now, come join in on the adventure and grow with me. Anyway, I'm gonna go downstairs and go vibe out for a bit and have a couple more pints.